Good day, Year 9, and what you will need for this lesson today is pen and paper to use to take notes for the lesson, so you can put these into your books when we return to class. So make sure that you save all this work that you're doing so we can put them into your books, and take any pictures, send them via Show My Homework to my email, or via Show My Homework, sorry, when you're done, so I can obviously mark it. And when you see the symbol, we've done this before in lessons, I think, so I'm trying to use it a bit more. So remember to writing down the information when you see that symbol. And the good thing about this PowerPoint is that you can pause and start whenever you wish to copy down work. Use this starter quiz to describe as many cooking methods, or name as many cooking methods as you can. So before carrying on, pause the video right now and then write down any cooking methods that you can think of. So how are we cooking? What do we use to cook, and how cooking works with cooking methods? And can you describe how those cooking methods work as well? Pause the video, write them down, and then come back and see if you were right. With today's learning objectives, what we want to be doing is, or what we're going to do is to know how steam is used as a raising agent. So we kind of touched on this in the last lesson, and also other raising agents. We're going to look at these raising agents again and understand why and how they're used within different food products and why. And by the end, to explain how steam is produced within choux pastry. And applying this knowledge when you're making choux pastry, I have attached a recipe should you wish to try it. I mean, it's a savory one, so you can, like with choux pastry, you can fill it with pretty much anything you like. I'm pretty sure the one that you all recognize is the profiteroles. So whip up some cream once you've made choux pastry profiteroles, and pipe the cream into there, and any products that you make. If you do make the choux pastry, can you send pictures to me so I can put them onto our Facebook page? That would be great. So going back to our research that you should have been done for your last lesson in terms of researching these raising agents. What are they? What different types are there, and so on. So where I didn't really go over this last lesson, so looking through these PowerPoints that were on the last PowerPoint that I sent out. So what different types of raising agents are there? Again, with your little symbol, pause, write this down for your notes that we can stick them back in. The first one that came up was yeast. So using yeast as a biological raising agent used in bread making. Again, pause the video, write the relevant information down so that you have this summary of what yeast is. You then have chemical raising agents. So the three that we mainly look at in food and nutrition is the bicarb of soda, baking powder, and cream of tartar. Again, symbol up there to be writing down the notes here, and to get across that these chemical raising agents contain a combination of whether it be acids or alkalides in order to help foods to rise. So you have a natural raising agents as well. So here we have air. So this is when we make meringues, or when fats, and so when we're making creamed cakes and so on. So the creaming method at the beginning, when you're beating the sugar and the fat together, that's creating air. So this whole air incorporated into products is helping the overall product, when it's cooked, to have a lighter texture. Again, the symbol there to pause the video and to write your notes so that they can be put into your books when we return. So this is the one we're looking at a bit more closely today, is steam. And steam is a gaseous state in terms of water. And this is another natural raising agent. So when you've got air, this is another natural raising agent when used to make choux pastry, in this case profiteroles. So with the challenge, I'm going to explain to you now how this actually works. I'm going to try and help break this down, and also to remember to write this down in note form, using your sentences to put them into your books on our return. So how does steam work within profiteroles, aka choux pastry? So if you think of breaking water down into its different elements, so you have ice in its frozen state, water, and then steam in its heated state. When we look at water in its gaseous state and in a more scientific way, the way that it's presented within the AQA book, the exam book, is that when water is a liquid, the molecules are joined together by these hydrogen bonds. And what happens when this water is heated, so when water is boiled, boiling water being at 100 degrees, these hydrogen bonds that hold these molecules together break. And when these break, they go free. And this is where steam is created. So these hydrogen bonds, you can see at the top right-hand corner in that diagram. Those bonds are held together, but when heated, they break, and then the molecules are then released into the air as water vapor. So I've used this particular slide to simplify how this works in terms of choux pastry. So remembering that we're talking about steam and how it works within choux pastry. How is that choux pastry rising? So for example, to help simplify this, when you make choux pastry, there's a lot of water in there, as there's a high water content in there. It's not like your normal pastry where it would be short crust where there's a high fat content. This has a high water content. So to get this raw dough to rise, so you can see there where it's being piped, that's its raw state. So to get that from a raw state into a cooked state, the pastry needs heat. It's the number one thing to be doing when making choux pastry. The first thing you do, get that oven on. The oven needs to be hot. Therefore, when that pastry that you can see in that picture, it goes into the oven, it's immediately starting to work. It's starting to rise. Now, how it rises and gets to this state, the profiterole that we know in its cooked state, is because when the water heats up, it's producing steam. So you think that in its raw state, this particular pastry has a high water content, and when it's heated, so when the water heats, it produces steam. It's exactly the same way as with the profiterole in its raw state. There is a lot of water in there, and when it heats, it's producing steam. So you think about it, that's its raw state. I've done a little diagram there, and in there it's producing the steam because of the heat. And it's the steam that pushes the dough up. It's pushing the dough up. The flour is holding its shape, and the thing that's happening in there is that the steam is helping it to rise. So the steam is helping it to rise, and therefore it's creating that little pocket in the middle that you can pipe the cream or whatever you wish within the choux pastry, and that's how it's working. It's the steam within it, the high water content. It's being heated. It's making the dough rise and then hardening due to the heat within the oven, and therefore you have your profiterole. Again, little symbol there, writing this down. Pause and write the information down. So the one thing that we've learned from this is that the mixtures, what requires mixtures for steam to work as a raising agent, is the liquid. Again, coming back to that liquid being present in choux pastry, there's a high water content, and once that heats, that's what's producing that air. It's the steam within that pastry that's helping that product to rise. So therefore, it's the same not just with choux pastry, but you can see there Yorkshire puddings, and in ways puff pastries. It's the same thing. So there's a high water content, and it's helping these products to rise how we know it, and then setting the oven, and the heat is setting it to make it, give it that nice crumbly texture, or to give it that little bit of crunch or that softness. Again, little symbol there, pausing, writing down. Today's checklist then, open the worksheet attached to show my homework, read through the worksheet about raising agents and use this PowerPoint as well to help you. Answer the questions for activity 1 and 2. They are at the end of the worksheet that's attached. And please use full sentences and details to help explain your answers. Please, no one-word answers. Really explain to me and to those that would be reading it within the exam board what you're trying to get across. Show your knowledge. Any problems, get in contact as normal, and good luck.